Yo, what's up, everybody out there in YouTube? I don't have my screen up because this is some very important news. Um, just another way to, get rid of the lies and bring out the truth. That because that's what we're all searching for. We're all searching for the truth. If someone doesn't want to hear the truth, please, just click off right now. I'll give you a few seconds to click off because we're going to talk about a very touchy subject amongst black Americans. Now, we're going to talk about abortion rates. And I've got this page here that I pulled up. If anyone wants the information, you can personal message me or email me or leave a comment, and I'll give you guys the information because I don't want people to misuse and abuse this information because I don't want this to be an attack on my black sisters. I just want my black sisters to know what the truth is. So each individual sister who comes across this video or who gets this in another way, or shape, or form, or gets this information, I want them to be able to make a choice within themselves what side and whose side they're going to be on. Now, the title of this article I'm reading is Abortion Rate Among Black Women Far Exceeds Rate for Other Groups. Now, the revelation a few weeks ago that Planned Parenthood employees had encouraged telephone donations from callers hoping to facilitate abortions of black babies, money that was offered from members of an anti-abortion group at UCLA, led to a quick apology from the family planning organization. Planned Parenthood said its employees made a serious mistake in encouraging the donations. The callers contacted Planned Parenthood's vice presidents of development and marketing in Idaho and Oklahoma, the other officials at their Ohio and New Mexico offices, and officials in 3 other so far unnamed states because the UCLA group suspected that Planned Parenthood was specifically targeting minorities and minority neighborhoods for abortions. The donor and a representative of New Mexico Planned Parenthood were recorded as saying, now this is recorded, y'all. Donor, I really face trouble with affirmative action. I don't want my kids to be disadvantaged. Planned Parenthood representative, yeah. Donor, against blacks in college. The less black kids out there, the better. Planned Parenthood representative, yeah. It's a strange time to be sure. Tapes of the calls to New Mexico and Oklahoma Planned Parenthood branches were released on Wednesday. Leila Rose, a UCLA undergraduate who ran the study, told Fox News that tapes for the final 3 states will be released within the next few weeks. Rose claimed that Planned Parenthood development officials in all 7 states that her group contacted gave similar responses and were encouraging donations that were limited to funding only abortions for black women. A spokesman for Planned Parenthood wrote Fox News that the group questioned the authenticity of elements of these edited tapes and added that Planned Parenthood had expanded its employee training program so that employees understand that our organization helps all individuals, regardless of gender, race, or sexual orientation. Rose denied that the tapes were edited and added, why are they apologizing for what is on the tapes when they are simultaneously telling the media not to cover this issue because they say that the tapes were edited? Planned Parenthood did not respond to questions about how it knew the tapes were edited. Rose said the study was done both because of the controversial views of Planned Parenthood's founder, Margaret Sanger. And I'm going off on this, you guys. I suggest you guys Google Margaret Sanger. Okay, I'm going to continue. Rose said the study was done both because of the controversial views of Planned Parenthood's founder, Margaret Sanger, and Rose's belief that the group was still following those founding principles. Sanger advocated using birth control, sterilization, and abortion to weed out the problem of dependent, delinquent, and defective elements in modern society, mainly black women and children. Rose also noted that she was concerned that 80% of Planned Parenthood clinics are in minority neighborhoods. The majority of Planned Parenthood clinics are in minority neighborhoods. The majority in the minority. Not the majority in the majority, but the majority in the minority. That's weird to me. Okay. Planned Parenthood officials did not produce a response to this claim. The organization performed 22% of all abortions, meaning 260,000 out of 1.2 million abortions. Babies being killed. A Planned Parenthood spokeswoman wrote the organization denounces racial bias, and what is deeply troubling is that an opponent of reproductive health care is baiting Planned Parenthood employees with deceptive, potentially motivated tactics. Blacks do indeed have much higher rates of abortions than whites or other minority groups. In 2000, while blacks only made up 17% of live births, they made up more than twice that share of abortions. If those aborted children had been born, the number of blacks born would have been slightly over 50% greater than it was. The comparison with whites and other minorities is striking. Whites made up 78% of live births, but only 57% of abortions. Non-black minorities had 7% of live births and 5% of abortions. If the aborted children had been born for either group, the percentage increase in the number of children born to these groups would have been less than that for blacks, 16 and 32% respectively. It's crazy, yo. It's crazy. No one is going to like that information right there. It turns my stomach just to read it. This is a black Holocaust. A lot of sisters out there, I know when you go to sleep at night, you hear those babies crying to you in your sleep. I am a man who at a young age, at 17 years old, made a baby. And because I was too much of a punk at 17 years old to stand up and take care of my child, my then girlfriend, parents, not parents, her mother, decided to have an abortion. And as a man who did not have my actual baby dug out of my own body, every day of my life, I think about what could have been. That is a decision that will haunt me for the rest of my life, that I allowed, at that time, the mother of my child to undergo that harrowing experience. Because if I wasn't a pussy, I would have stood up at 17 years old and said, you know what, I'm going to take responsibility for this child to live. No, I did what a lot of men do. Not just black men, but men in fucking general. I kept my mouth shut and I thought that I was dodging a bullet. No. I would give anything to turn back the hands of time and redo that point in my life, because I have to deal with that. Now, I am a man who is dealing with those feelings every day since 17 years old. I've not, every day, it's not a day that's going by that I haven't thought about that. So, if I'm talking to my sisters on this, I know, unless you have a cold, cold heart, which I know you sisters don't. I don't care what you've done. You're thinking about that baby. It wasn't a fetus. It wasn't a bunch of cells. It was a baby, a living life that we brought into existence and that we allowed for people to tell us that it's not a baby, for them to kill our future. There is nothing wrong with feeling the pain from those decisions that we made. It's nothing wrong, because it shows that we are sorry for that decision, and that if we knew what was going to happen, that we would have took it back. We know this. So let's stop feeling some type of way about what happened in our past when it goes to abortions. Let's do something to fix this shit, because this is Holocaust. And they're killing our babies. They're killing our babies. It's going to be probably 2 black women who are going to say some bad things on this page, and 2 black men. But everybody else is going to feel where I'm coming from if you experienced what I've experienced, and a lot of these sisters have. I say this in love and understanding.